Thank you. Now, without any further delay, let's begin today's event. Once again, Cleaner Cities with Smart Emissions. At this time, I would like to turn the floor over to Patrick Berner. Patrick, the floor is now yours.
Thanks, Christina. And thanks again to everyone for joining us today to view our second webinar of the Ignite Winter webcast series. Today we will be hearing from Niels van der Graaf from Nijmegen. Nijmegen is one of Hexagon Geospatial's partners and will be representing the Smart Emission Smart M.App on behalf of the Ignite winner, Paul Gorks. Paul Gorks is from the city of Nijmegen, Netherlands, and was the second place winner during the Ignite Challenge. As Christina mentioned, I am Patrick Berner, and I'll be your moderator for today. As your moderator, I'll give you a brief overview of the Ignite competition before handing it over to our presenter, Niels. I will also present a few polling questions at the end of this webinar, as well as take some questions from our audience. Let me start by giving you a brief overview of the Ignite Challenge and what it was. The Ignite Challenge was a competition run by Hexagon Geospatial in 2016. It was a call for innovators to use the Hexagon Geospatial Smart M.App platform to transform their ideas into actual smart applications. The Smart M.App platform is a set of tools and technology that enables entrepreneurs, innovators, and any organization to transform their geospatial data into dynamic information services or solutions that provide better insights into business, social, economic, agriculture, as well as industrial problems we face today. The Ignite Challenge ran from January 6th to December 15th in 2016. We had 6 different themes that we asked our innovators to consider: finance, health, safety, food, infrastructure, and conservation. During the Ignite Challenge, we held 32 Ignite sessions where we traveled the world to talk about the platform and talk about how to turn innovative ideas into actual working applications and business models. We received over 153 submissions, of which we narrowed it down to 20 finalists. Upon completion of the Ignite Challenge, we did award 3 top winners and 2 honorable mentions. Of the 20 finalists, 19 successfully published their Smart M.App. As I mentioned, there were 20 submissions total. This is a short example of all the different ideas that came in from our finalists. Today we're going to be hearing from our second place winner, the Smart Emission Network. The presentation's name is Cleaner Cities with Smart Emissions. So as a final reminder, before we get started, please stick around at the completion of the webinar so we can take part in the polling questions and for you to have a chance to ask questions about this particular solution. Without further ado, let me turn it over to you, Niels.
Yes, thank you very much, Patrick, and hello, everyone. I'm very happy to present the Smart Emission Map for you today. As Patrick already said, my name is Niels van der Graaf, Business Developer at Nijmegen in the Netherlands. And I shall be talking to you today about an innovative way of monitoring and communicating environmental variables for air quality purposes. The Smart Emission solution has been a project started by the city of Nijmegen and the University of Nijmegen because of new city road planning. Citizens were afraid that the air quality around them would become unhealthy. And the city of Nijmegen promised that 4 times a year measurements would be made for the necessary environmental variables in certain areas to control possible hazards. And these measurements are very expensive because of the equipment being used and the time it takes. And besides this, the frequency of the measurements, only 4 a year, is by far not enough to have a good view of the situation. So constant monitoring is needed. And Paul Gorks, the ICT architect of the city of Nijmegen, came up with the idea that these measurements could be done smarter and cheaper, and that is when the project came to life. Let me take you along with the situation in the Netherlands in regards to the environmental health. This is probably the same or worse in any other country in the world. In the Netherlands, the Dutch National Institute for Public Health and the Environment did a research on what causes the various diseases and how many people had this certain disease. And just take a look at second place, environmental health. And I'll bet this is not just in the Netherlands. I suppose this is probably worldwide the same situation. So attention is needed here. And let's not forget that there are many different sources that influence our health. And it's easy to forget which sources are around us every single day. The initial measurements which Nijmegen was intended to do only gives you just a moment in time, and you are not able to make the right decision only on 4 measurement results throughout a full year. Are you going to act on an anomaly? When is a threshold level? When a threshold level is reached, is it also happening somewhere else? Does this result influence the living quality in the area, etc., etc.? Loads of questions which are not able to be answered just by 4 single numbers. So monitoring is needed in order to make the right decisions. And continuous monitoring provides you with history so trends and developments can be made visible. And the city of Nijmegen also wanted to become a smarter city, so that data-driven decision-making helps the city to become a smarter city. And that the city of Nijmegen also didn't want to keep the data for themselves. They also provided the citizens the monitoring data so that citizens can participate into making better decisions and, of course, for placement of the sensors throughout the city. And smarter citizens come up with smarter solutions. So before I enrich your lives with the demo of the Smart Emission solution, just a little more background information. The city of Nijmegen and the university started this project to monitor environmental variables in a cost-effective and efficient way. And they also won several awards for this. Amongst others, they won 2nd place in the Ignite competition, obviously, and 1st place in the contest of the smartest city center within the Netherlands. And during the project from the municipality of Nijmegen, the Smart M.App technology came along. And because of its powerful way of communicating location intelligent information and its flexibility, the city chose to use this technology for presenting the results of the monitoring. And you can't see or feel bad air quality. And professional measurements are time-consuming and very expensive. The Smart Emission solution for monitoring environmental variables offers the answer to see and understand what is happening. And with the combination of the special sensors, the infrastructure, and the Smart Emission Map, you gain direct, actual real-time insight in the current and the past situation. The Smart Emission solution is a plug-and-play solution. Just place the sensor and connect them to the internet and you're done. And it fits in every ICT environment because it's a cloud solution. And the savings can be enormous compared to the high-tech professional equipment used by national health agencies. Even when using 50 sensors, our Smart Emission solution will still save money and add higher value. Because what do you think gives a better insight? Only 3 measurement points made with very high-tech, highly accurate measurement systems, or loads of reliable, high-quality measurement points with high density. All right, let me take you along to the demo. I'm starting up the Smart Emission Smart Map. As you can see, we have, of course, the location information and all and other widgets where you get some information. In the upper left corner, you can see the overall air quality from clean to very bad. And the overall perceived noise level is presented. In the upper right corner, you can choose specific parameters you would want to see the results of. For instance, temperature, air pressure, humidity, CO2, NO2, ozone, and noise. And also you can select the actual here traffic data. This to see if there's any correlation between traffic and the measured results. Also notice at the very right bottom side that we are looking at this data in real time. This is the actual situation aggregated over 1 hour. To have the actual second information will not give us any advantage, so we have to aggregate the numbers per hour to see a good result. And just a side note, the smart ones in the webinar already noticed that this smart emission map is in Dutch. And that is because I'm showing you the actual smart emission map, which is open for the citizens of Nijmegen. And you can select and deselect various sensors. And you can see on the right side the dials changing for the result of that particular sensor. Very intuitive and very easy to see, especially for the citizens that have placed them on their house or in their backyard. And you can also choose different tabs above the dials to dive deeper into the data. For now, we only chose to use history of 2 days. And here you can choose which parameter you want to switch on or off. And to correlate the various parameters in regard to the air quality to see if there's any correlation. This can be done for the meteorological parameters, the air quality parameters, and also for the noise parameters. And that is how easy it is. And in that way, the infrastructure is ready. The only thing you need to have and to take care of is placing the sensors. It is plug and play. The complete solution is cloud-based. You can connect the sensors to the internet, open up a browser, and you're done. It's a flexible solution because of the several packages that are there. There's a starter pack, there's a special pack for small municipalities, mid and large municipalities, but also for the extra large municipalities or custom wishes. It fits in any IT environment because it's complete cloud solution, and we have an organizational version and a public version. And for purchase or additional information, either contact Hexagon Geospatial or your local Hexagon Geospatial representative, or of course, check out our website on imagem.nl. Thank you very much for this presentation and your attention, and I hope you valued it.
Great, thank you, Niels. We appreciate the presentation, very good. This leaves a lot of time at the end here for our polling questions, as well as questions from our attendees. So if you remember from the beginning, on the right-hand side, there is a Q&A tab where you can enter questions that you want to ask, specifically related to this presentation and the Smart Emission solution. To get started, we're going to ask a couple polling questions, and in between each polling question, we will entertain some of the questions we received from our audience. So the first polling question we have today is, how would you rate your interest in today's WebEx? There's 4 different selections. I'm curious to learn more about the Smart City Initiative. I'd like to learn more about the technology being utilized in other cities and regions. I'm researching solutions for improving quality of life in our city and region. And it would be nice to utilize crowdsourcing both from the community involvement and cost savings standpoint. So if you can take a few seconds to answer this first polling question, I will ask a question that came in from our audience. So question number 1, we are very interested in the Smart City initiatives. We do not currently have any systems for measuring air quality in place today. I know you mentioned that there's some level packages available, but my real question is, how much IT infrastructure, or what are the IT infrastructure requirements to get started?
Well, that is an easy question to answer. And as I stated, there's a choice between packages for 5, 25, 50, or 100, or whatever it is necessary for the number of sensors. And in regard to the IT requirements, you only actually need a browser. The sensors and the infrastructure is a plug-and-play system. You place the sensors anywhere in the environment where you would like, as long as you take care of a Wi-Fi connection, and then it automatically knows where the sensor is and will start collecting the data and will show up the results in the Smart Emission Map.
Great, thank you. So our first polling question has closed. We'll move on to the next one, and then we'll ask another question that has come in. So second polling question, do you envision that you would be evaluating how to implement a smart city initiative specifically around monitoring and improving citizen quality of life? And the polling question just simply around what time frame do you have this type of initiative set on your city schedule? 6 months to a year, next year, or right now you have no time frame or no projects in mind? The second question that has come in that I'd like to ask is from another one of our attendees, and it says, I like the idea of using our residents to be involved and engaged in this type of initiative. As a matter of fact, our city has really asked us to use crowdsourcing as a way to better understand what's happening in our community. With that in mind, you mentioned the sensors are something that citizens can put in their yards or in high traffic areas that they're aware of. Does that mean the sensors come with a warranty in case of damage or loss?
Yeah, good question. There is, of course, always a 12-month guarantee, but in regard to stolen or maybe even vandalized situations, which has also happened in the Netherlands, we have thought about a good way of how to handle this. And what you actually do is you invest like a kind of lease. So when the sensor breaks or gets stolen, it will get replaced. But of course, there will be discussed on the number of sensors being replaced within the contract, because you can understand that when 100 gets stolen and you agreed for 50, then of course there is not a good price model, and by next year there won't be any sensors left. Does this answer the question?
Yeah, I think that was a great answer. So we'll move on to our third polling question. So are you collecting air quality data today? And if so, what systems are you using or considering? The choices we have here are none at this time. In the United States, there's the AMPIC Smart Quality Initiative. So if that's something that you're considering or have been involved in, please check that box. Have you invested in permanent structures? Or are you using mobile trucks or mobile stations for measuring air quality? Or if there's another type of collection source that you're using at this time. I have another question that has come in. And this question asks about the accuracy of the sensors. So it says, how accurate are these sensors and how big are these sensors, understanding that we may be using 30 to 50 within our community?
Right. So if I understood the question correctly, it's a question on how accurate they are and how what their size is. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Well, the size, that's a good question. They are quite small, but I cannot tell you. They are round, and they are probably about 15 to 20 centimeters in width, and probably about 3 to 5 centimeters high. And the sensors itself measure quite accurately and are very reliable. They do not measure exactly the same as the high-tech professional sensors, but they are compared, let's say, calibrated with them. And due to the artificial intelligence in the software and the stability of the sensors, deviation is always the same, which make the sensors actually very reliable in its results.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to move on to our fourth and final polling question. And then we still have a little bit of time for some additional questions that we've gotten from our audience. So for the fourth polling question, we're asking, do you have any smart city applications within your organization in production today? It gives you a list of choices. Please check all that apply. And are these initiatives around things like air quality or noise quality, sewer conditions, ground conditions, water and power usage, as well as city and budget expenditures, electric charging points for alternative vehicles, lighting, as well as playground initiatives. So if you just check those boxes off, and while you're doing that, I have 2 more questions so far that I'll ask. So the next one is, how easy is it to customize or add air quality parameters to this type of Smart Map?
Right. The sensors will evolve in time, of course, and you will be able to measure more parameters in the future. The sensor itself already measures around 40 parameters, but because of the calculation and models that have to be made in order to correctly measure them, that takes some time in order to get that straight. So at the moment, the sensor of the results you see in the Smart Map are the accurate ones we can measure, and through time, others will be able to be measured, like, for instance, particulate matter.
Great, thank you. So we're about ready to close out. I do have another question to ask, but this was our last polling question. So we can move to the last slide. This last slide will give you some contact information. However, I do see that under my name, I forgot to list my email, but it is patrick.burner@hexagongeospatial.com. And I will ask one more question. We actually had 3 questions that are kind of similar. So the first part of the question was, how do I get more information about the sensors? And this is where the contact information listed here comes in handy. And the second part of the question was, what do they cost per sensor, or what is a rough estimate of the investment for air quality in this solution?
Yeah. In regards to the first part of the question, where more information can be gotten from in regard to the sensors, that is the information we are going to be putting on our website, where the information can be found. In regard to the question, what do they cost, I can give a rough estimate on what you should think about in regards to the sensors. For instance, for 5 sensors, you should think about around $20,000. For instance, 50 sensors, you should think about around $50,000. And don't forget, this is a price for the hardware and the software, but also the complete infrastructure for the whole plug-and-play system, where it's just connecting to the internet and you get your all your air quality results in the Smart Map. And you only have to place them.
That's great, Niels. Thank you very much. So with that said, we're ready to close out this webinar and webcast for the Ignite Winner Finalist Webcast Series. If you do have any questions, I would encourage you to reach out to Niels from Nijmegen or myself from Hexagon Geospatial, and we'd be happy to talk to you more about how you can get this type of technology in your city or in your county. With that said, thank you for joining, and we will end this webcast.
Great, thank you. And once again, this does conclude today's webcast, and at this time, you are free to disconnect. Have a great day, everyone.